Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Lounging with Leonie. I am your host, Leonie. I hope you guys are doing well. Today I wanted to discuss the topic of relationships and dating. And what better person to join me on the lounge than one of my long-term frenemies, who I like to consider another brother. Please welcome Ruel Teodoro.
Hi, how are you guys? Don't know where to look, but yeah.
I mean, you don't have to look anywhere.
Oh, really? I just need to look at you. Okay.
Exactly, we're having a conversation.
Yeah, sure.
So thank you for joining me on the lounge today,
Yeah.
Ruel. I invited you because you and I feel like are very similar or had similar experiences when it comes to relationships. And we're both now in the dating game. And I want to get your perspective because you are obviously a male.
Yes,
and I'm a
of the-
female.
yeah.
And I assume that the experience is probably very different.
Yeah, definitely. It is a very different experience being a male in a male dominated society
Yeah.
dating. But yeah.
But how is your dating experience right now?
Oh, actually, it's not that great. I mean, it's all right. I wish it could be better.
Right.
It's got its ups and downs. Like whenever you get like a match and then they actually start talking, that's when you get this high of like, oh yes, I got someone to talk to me for a
Oh,
bit.
yes,
And then
yes.
afterwards, then slowly it just anticipates and goes down,
It
and you're
fades
like,
away.
oh, okay, that didn't go anywhere. That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah. So what
Yeah.
dating apps are you on currently?
So I'm pretty much on most of them. Well, most of the main ones like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, and I'm also on CMB, which I don't think is a major one, but
That one's Coffee Meets Bagel.
yeah, Coffee Meets Bagel.
Yeah.
It's a pretty. I find it pretty alright. That's why I use it. So those are the four I use.
4 apps.
Yes.
How do you even keep up?
Well, fortunately, I'm not getting many matches. Yeah, that's why I can keep up, right?
I see.
Yeah.
See, I'm on 2 dating apps. I'm on Tinder and Hinge.
Yeah.
And
You're probably getting like thousands of people, right?
I mean, okay, so like on Tinder, I have around like 400 matches.
Really?
Yeah. How much do you have on Tinder? I assume it's just different for guys and girls.
It's like 5 or 6.
Oh, really? That's
Probably-
insane.
Yeah, so it's pretty low for me, and I started a month ago, so it's not. It's as an average
It's a
looking
drought.
guy. I consider myself as an average guy that like she's attacking me.
I'm not, what?
Of like how average I am.
Am I attacking you? I have not
No,
attacked you once. You're just projecting on yourself.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's why I'm not doing well on the
You need
dating
more
apps. Yeah, I
confidence.
need to like boost my confidence up.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think the experience for girls and guys on dating apps is completely different. I feel like girls are inundated with guys, whereas for guys like yourself, you don't get as many. I think the algorithm is designed to be like that, unfortunately, though.
Yeah, actually, I was looking at like I think I saw it on TikTok or something like the 1% of guys are getting like 80% of the girls
Yeah.
to see their profile, and then afterwards like people like the 99% are like getting the only 40. Wait, what's the maths? Like the 20%.
Oh my god, I'm so glad you didn't tell me to do the math because I would be like, what?
Okay, so we're Asians who are not good at math.
That's another.
That's another
subject.
story, but yeah, definitely. I think I definitely feel like I'm in that group of who are getting the 20% of girls on Tinder and the other
Right.
apps. Yeah, simply because maybe I'm not too attractive on, like I don't have the greatest photos, or maybe I don't have a good
Yeah.
bio. Maybe I just need to lift it up.
Honestly, I
something.
think those dating apps are just like super shallow. Like it's based on first impressions, so it is very superficial. It's about how you look, and unfortunately, that is the case. I feel like a lot of the guys that I swipe on them because of how they look, right? And but like when you actually get to know them, they're either like dicks or they're really nice. Yeah.
So in the percentage of like dicks versus nice, like how did what is that ratio?
That ratio.
Yeah.
I think it really depends as well, because I definitely see the difference between a dating app such as Tinder versus a dating app such as Hinge. Obviously, Tinder, I feel like there's a lot more douchebags on there who are just looking for like a one night stand or like a quick lay or whatever. Whereas like Hinge, I feel like people are more like willing to engage in conversations and maybe look for something a bit more serious. So I've definitely met a lot more dickheads, and there's like also a lot of fake profiles
Oh, really?
on Tinder. As yes, yep,
No
yep.
way.
So you have to really like, yeah, filter through a lot of shit.
Really? Well, I think
But in saying
Yeah.
that, most of the dates that I've been on, I've only been like single and dating for about like a year now. But most of the dates that I've been on have eventuated through Tinder as opposed to Hinge.
So have you gotten any dates on Hinge though?
Maybe like one or two versus like 10 on Tinder.
And then obviously they didn't all work out.
Yes, yeah. But I think the thing with like Tinder is people are more willing to like quickly meet up, I guess. And I appreciate that a lot more because I'm a busy person. I don't have a lot of time to waste just on the phone having conversations which are like very repetitive. Everyone asks the same question. It's like, what do you do? What does content producing involve? It's
Oh,
like, oh my
really?
god, I just want to have to like copy paste my answer to all of these guys. Whereas when you like meet up really quickly, you can gauge whether you like a person or not, and then whether you want to continue talking to them.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Like how quickly do you want, like, for yourself, like would you want someone to like, hey, I think you're cute or whatever, or
Yeah.
interesting, want to just catch up, and like what's the chances of you actually going to that type of that date?
I think there's a lot of like tick boxes involved before I like agree to go on a date. But generally, like if I swipe on somebody, it means I already find them attractive. Something about them attracts me. And if like the general vibe when we start talking, like it flows well, then it's like, okay, this is a conversation that's pretty cool. We have similar interests, whatever. Usually I like to internet stalk them first to make sure like they're legit, and like you can also get a sense of who they are as a person through their Instagram or whatever. And if they ask me like maybe like the second day of chatting to meet up or something, I'll be like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
Okay, so it's something like you don't want to talk too much, but you
Yeah.
definitely want to like get it on with and just have a date or
Yeah.
meet up. Well, do you prefer more of like a coffee date or like dinner or something? Because I hear conflicting like arguments where like it's if I'm like for a girl, if I'm getting ready to dress up and whatever, I want to be taken out somewhere. I don't want to be
Right.
meeting you for coffee and whatever.
Right.
And so like as a guy, I don't know where to gauge it. Should I take him for a coffee? Should I take him for dinner? Should I
Yeah.
like plan an event or something? Like that's something that I struggle with whenever I'm like asking a girl like, "Oh, are you free this Saturday or something?"
Right. I think it's probably a good thing to gauge like a general idea of who they are as a person. So if they seem like the adventurous, outgoing type, you might want to go for a hike somewhere or like suggest a hike. Or if you look at their Instagram and there's a lot of food pictures, it's like, let's go for a coffee or a restaurant. But also, it doesn't hurt to ask the girl herself, like, what do you want to do?
Oh, really? But I feel like as a guy, we have that pressure to like know what we want to do. Like I definitely feel the pressure. Like you wouldn't. You're told not to ask a girl. Do you feel like you want to? Do you want to go out with me? Rather, you say, "Oh, are you free? I'm going for dinner or something. Would you want to join or something?" Like like I feel like I'm conditioned to like not ask the question, but to state that this is what I'm doing. Are you jumping along with me?
Okay.
Mm.
I have two thoughts about this.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, we're in the 21st century, or whatever. Like, girls can make decisions for themselves. But on the other hand, I do like it when a guy takes initiative, because like that's something that I've been missing in all my previous relationships. Is like I'm the one always taking initiative. Can the guy for once fucking plan something?
Yeah.
What was the question again? What was the?
So I was making a statement about like how like guys need to take the initiative. Like I've
Yeah.
been taught to take the initiative, but then afterwards, at the same time, I don't know how to gauge from like your profile or just this quick chat on text, like what type of person you should be. Should I be taking you to a coffee date or a dinner or whatever? Like how do you like project? Yeah.
Yeah. How do you
Yeah.
know what they
Yeah.
want? I think for the first date, always keep it somewhat casual. That's how I see it. That's how what I want. I obviously like I have social anxiety. The last thing that I want to do as a socially anxious person going on a date is go on a date with somebody where I have to sit in front of them.
Sorry.
He did a little burp. How
Sorry.
cute. Don't do that on dates.
I apologize. It's just like something I ate earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've completely lost my train of thought now.
But you
No, I as a socially anxious person, I don't want to have my first date with a stranger be sitting in front of them, opposite them at a restaurant, and having them watch me eat and shove food in my mouth. Like that is such an uncomfortable experience for me, especially for a first date when I don't know who the person is. And also then you have the pressure of like, oh, who's going to pay and blah, blah, blah. So for me, I think a first date should be somewhat casual. I like going for like a walk or like a picnic or something easy like that. Where maybe you can pick up food along the way to have on your walk or your picnic. And that's how, I feel like that's a better way to get to know somebody without pressure.
So yeah, I've been hearing a lot of girls don't really like to have like eating on the first date because they are self-conscious. Like I didn't realize that as a guy. I didn't realize that girls can be self-conscious of the way they eat. Is that like a big thing for you? Like how your date perceives you when you're going on a date?
Yeah, I definitely, of course, you want to make a good first impression when you're on a date with somebody, but also like I don't think like it depends on the girl. For me, going to restaurants, going to cafes to eat for a date just isn't my thing. And it's not just about perception. It's an uncomfortable situation for me. Like if I'm going on a date with somebody, I want to be at my most comfortable so that they can get an idea of who I am as a person.
Okay. So like what I gathered from that is that you like to be comfortable on a date. But like as a guy, it's very difficult to understand like how do we get a girl comfortable? Like all girls are different.
That's true.
We don't like we have yeah.
It's up to the girl too. Like
Yeah.
if you're gonna suggest a dinner date, it can be up to the girl to say yes or no, right?
Yeah.
If a guy asked me out on a dinner date, I'd be like, oh, I'd be more comfortable going for a walk. But yeah, that's just what I would do.
Well, that makes you kind of like the exception then, like
I am
because
the exception. People, please
Yeah.
date me.
desperate. No, it's okay. But what was I saying? Like, you're the exception because like sometimes I would recommend
Right.
like a date or something or just catch up, and then afterwards they'll say no with
Right.
no actual suggestions of like where to go forward. Like, okay, do you want to be asked to a different day? Do you want to like go for something else? It's like you're left on red basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, be
Yeah.
upfront.
Yeah.
And second of all, if there's that blunt, do
Yeah.
you even want to go on a date with them? Like, if that's the type of person they are, that just like they say no follow up at all.
Yeah, I get that, but like when you're like me, where you get low rates of like matches, you there's a part of you that becomes like, is something wrong with me? And
Nothing's
I just
wrong
need to
with
get
you,
this to
Roel.
work. If I can do one day that goes successfully, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, you're like, maybe I'm just putting too much pressure on myself or something. But
Just think of this as a job interview.
yeah,
It's, you got to think about it from a resume perspective. You're competing with other 50 to 100 boys for the same girls. So what are you doing to put your best foot forward? Think about that.
Oh, yeah, well, your
Words
brother.
of wisdom from Big Brother.
Yes, your big brother. Yeah, I fully agree that it is a. So I have been considering to update all my photos and probably profile within the next few months or something, because I feel like definitely I don't stand out like it's like for a girl it's easy to not stand out because you're girls, but like for guys you have to stand out because the sea is quite large, I guess.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Question for you
Yeah.
guys. From the photos to when you meet them, how often do they look like them in the photos?
For me, the guys that I meet definitely look like their photos.
for me personally, none of the girls look like their photos.
Oh,
Yeah.
very interesting.
So maybe like in the right light they will look like their photos,
So
but in general no.
were you generally disappointed when you meet them in person?
To be honest, I don't consider looks always when I first meet a person. Like I'll say, "Oh, okay, she doesn't look like a photo," and I'm just trying to figure out, okay, if that's the case, is her personality better than her photos, right? And generally, no.
Can I just say,
Yeah.
I feel like the guys that I've dated, they look better in real life than in their photos,
Mm,
usually.
okay.
Yeah.
So, are you always surprised at that? Like,
I think so. Because like yes, I am shallow. I feel like most people are shallow when it comes to like the first thing you notice about somebody is their looks, right?
yep.
So it is hard on Tinder because like you have got like average looking people, you've got really hot people, you've got really ugly people who don't know how to,
Take a photo.
take a photo
Yeah.
or like look presentable. And what I usually swipe like based on is as long as they look presentable, that's fine. And then usually when I actually go on a date with them, it's like, oh, actually, they're better than how they portrayed themselves on the dating app. And
Okay.
maybe that is like personality as well, because you get to see how they stand, how they talk, their confidence, whatever, and that is also very attractive.
Sounds like there's a business for personal branding.
I think there is like people would like sell how to improve your photos and whatever, and bios or online, because I feel like I've been marketed a few of them because you know
Yeah.
when you search up like Tinder bio hacks or whatever,
Like
you're
honestly, like the guys that I've dated,
yeah.
their Tinder profiles are pretty shit.
Oh really?
Yeah, like their photos weren't great.
Like-
I mean, they looked like average
Mm.
men, but then when you actually meet them, I think they're a bit more like above
Attractive.
average. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're. I mean, maybe I'm just like whatever. I'll swipe on everybody that that looks okay. Maybe I don't have high standards. I don't know, but like, yeah, I think people need to like learn how to brand themselves and present themselves better on social media and on dating apps.
Okay, so like how this is more on like the photos to bio ratio. Like how important is the bio to you against the like image of them? Like how would you put that in a ratio?
Yeah, look, definitely like appearance, photos is important. And I have swiped on people who have had very minimal bios. And I've also swiped on people who've had very large bios.
Mm.
Like, personally, a bio to me doesn't really say much. Like, what? Like, hi, I'm Leonie. I'm a content producer. I'm this. I like hiking. I like rock climbing. It doesn't really give much of, like, your personality. It just gives, like, what your hobbies are. So, I think, like, yes, listing what you're into and who you are as a person is important, but I think where it happens is like the actual conversation you have with them.
Okay. So, like, going upon that conversation, like, for me, like, I kind of need something in the bio because
Right.
that's like my jumping on point
Yeah.
for when talking. Because if they have just photos of themselves, generally it's just selfies or probably like their friends have taken a nice shot of them in like a restaurant or whatever.
Yeah.
And so there's no real jumping off point to like say, hey, like I see you're into like, I don't know, skydiving or something, and that you can use that as a jumping off point to say
Yeah.
hi, right? And I think the best conversations that I've given on Tinder and all the dating apps is that like they have just that tiny bit of bio or they
Yeah.
have something interesting in their like photo.
Yes.
Because like just saying hi, how are you is not enough nowadays on the Tinder app, like
That's true.
on the apps, because I bet you get like a million of those each day. So you need to somehow stand out. And I've been finding that the only way girls talk to me is like I have to stand out, and that's by having
Yeah.
some jumping off point. And like when I've swiped on a girl who doesn't have that, it like I just leave them. Like I don't know how to approach them. It's like because I know it'll go nowhere.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I mean, also, I guess it depends what you're looking for through these dating apps. I mean, I assume that you are looking for a more serious relationship.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want a serious relationship, but I feel that in this like type of like environment, like more people I just want to start a friendship first,
Yeah.
and then afterwards see where it goes, because people don't have that level of commitment, and like I also don't want to force someone into a commitment, right? So I think becoming friends is generally the better solution, but like it's hard when girls like, oh, what are you looking for? And you have to get like, I'm looking for something serious, but I know that I have to be friends with people first.
Right, but you don't want to be friend zoned either.
Yeah, I know. Like, and like your big brother said, is that I have a tendency to put myself in the friend zone because the way I talk is not flirty enough or something.
Real,
or-
what's
yeah.
your current bio says?
I think I got rid of my bio. Right. On my Tinder, I definitely wrote like here for the lols because I'm not taking that very seriously.
Maybe you should switch your strategy to go, I'm here to look for the perfect woman to live my life forever. Because I think the problem is people are using Tinder just for a good time and
Yeah.
just to see what choices are available in there. And maybe you can just go, fuck it. I'm going to focus on people who are serious about long-term relationships. And then bang. Here's another question for you is, the people that have actually gone out on a date with you, have they given you a reason what makes them agree or swipe? Right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's like a lottery for me. Like, if they say yes or no.
Do you ask them like why they?
No, I don't. I'm like,
That's probably a good thing.
I should gather some analytics.
Yes.
Put it in a spreadsheet and be like, okay, the reason they went out with me because of this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I might
Maybe.
start that. I don't know. It feels a little bit creepy, but
Start gathering data.
yeah, I hear people who do.
So it's more like just saying like,
Yeah.
so what makes you agree to want to go out and do this with me?
Mm.
And they'll be like, oh, because I thought, you're really cute, or, this and that and that.
Or I get a free meal.
Oh really?
Or I'm really hungry, I just wanted someone to take me out.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but how honest are girls sometimes? Like when it comes to like free meal.
I mean, yeah, true.
Will they like, oh, I definitely dated you for the free meal. I don't like you at all.
So I want to talk a bit about my experience
Okay.
dating because this is the first time that I've been single for a very long time, since I was 15. I've been in like back-to-back relationships since I was
Really?
15, like long-term relationships. And I have been single for like a year now.
Mm.
So this is my first time actually like dating lots of people.
Mm-mm.
And at first I thought like my goal of being on Tinder and Hinge and all the dating apps is to find a serious relationship. And then I realized like actually dating all these guys is a huge like learning experience. And I'm learning more about myself and what I want in a partner or a future partner, and what I don't want, and things that I'm willing to compromise and not compromise on. So I think going into the whole dating experience with the goal of finding the one, it's very stressful, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. I can see how stressful, like putting that like
That pressure.
pressure on someone to be, you have to be the one,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you might be the one, don't go away, kind
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
So the approach that I'm doing now is just like, yeah, meet up with everyone, see what the world has to offer, gain confidence in myself
Mm.
through the process. And if, yeah, I just don't think, yeah, putting pressure on trying to find an outcome from dating apps is healthy.
I think the other thing to consider
Mm.
is, can you look at all the individuals that you're going out with and go, can I make this work long term? And I
Mm.
believe that you probably could make any one of them work.
Mm.
So it's really about a choice to want to make it work.
Yes.
Yeah, that reminds me of actually like I dated this girl that you guys know, the Korean girl.
Yes.
And she was very Christian, and she mentioned to me that like love is a choice. Like after all the lust or the like the whole honeymoon period and everything, like you choose to be in love with someone
Yes.
and stick through that, because like when those things are gone, that you're left with that person,
yeah.
and that's the person you have to choose. Like,
Yes.
and so I think one of my criteria is like, can I be friends with them? Can I just like be able to chill, have quiet, like sit in a car completely quiet and stuff like that. So I think that definitely is like a criteria of mine. And I think this kind of goes into the point where I kind of broke up with someone recently because I saw myself I couldn't do that with her.
Yes. I mean, at the end, the goal is to find companionship in a way. And I noticed this, like, in my past relationships, I definitely compromised a lot of my values and things that I wanted out in life, and that really, like, held me back. And I totally lost my train of thought.
Well, you're talking about values, and when someone says like values, I always think like, at your young age, do you actually know your values? Like, I feel like it's only been recently for me that I understand my values, and is that something that because you're in a relationship early on, you didn't really know your values?
Exactly.
Like, what like values did you figure out through the relationship and outside a relationship?
Yeah, so when I was in a relationship, because I started like being in a relationship so young, I developed like a codependence. And I feel like for me back then, in my teenage years to like my early 20s, it was just all about like living up to this societal expectation that, you know, you need to find your person, you need to, you know, do the marriage, the kids, the beautiful wedding, and then you live and grow old with this person, blah blah blah. And because of that, I feel like, you know, I was so afraid of being alone. And for me, it was like, I need to find my person, I need to do everything with this person, and I need to depend on this person. We are a unit, we do everything together. So that was like being very toxically codependent. And that's what I learned, I guess, in like my first few relationships, was like, oh, I'm so codependent. And then my most recent relationship, I had to learn to break out from that codependency that I had, this fear of being alone and lonely and forgotten or whatever, and unloved, because they weren't reciprocating like even 50% of their effort into being in a relationship with me. So that was like the extreme opposite of what I had experienced in my earlier relationships. And because of that, I really had to, like, it was either be stuck in this relationship where I was getting absolutely nothing from it and I was severely unhappy, or learn to become more independent and find ways to feel that emptiness that I had. And then because of that, I started rock climbing. I started, you know, listening to BTS and realizing like, oh my gosh, BTS, this Korean group from like 7 boys from like who don't even know of my existence, can make me so damn happy and make me feel like I love myself. Why can't I feel that with my boyfriend? Like, isn't that weird? Shouldn't my boyfriend be giving me that experience of like, I can achieve anything? So that was when I realized like, yeah, I don't need to be in a relationship to feel fulfilled. And I think that's when I started learning what I really wanted in my life, in my relationships, and my values. I definitely, in the past year of being single, have learned like I do value things like companionship, like marriage and kids and stuff. That's definitely something that I value and want to have in the future. But above that, like, I think I definitely value learning and growth and open-mindedness in people. People who are willing to like give things a go, even when things are shit. And yeah.
Okay, so like obviously values are a very strong part in your dating like filter. Like when you're dating on like or meeting up with someone, when you realize they don't meet one or two of those values, when do you break it off, or do you just continue to try for that relationship hoping it will change?
Okay, so nobody is 100% perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. I'm sorry. Well,
Nah, it's okay.
I'm perfect.
Oh,
Big
yes.
Brother is
Yeah,
perfect.
Big Brother
Yes.
is perfect.
So I think it's really about understanding or knowing what you're willing to compromise, and like in order to make it work, if you want to make it work. So for me, it's kind of like, well, if, you know, they meet 80% of my criteria, like I think that there are some things that you can't compromise on. Like if you want to have kids and you want to get married, like it takes 2 to tango on that.
Yeah.
So like that's already immediately like, if you don't want that, then that's a huge
No, already.
yeah.
Okay.
But then there's like other like criterias, and if they meet them, then that's great. But if they don't, it's like, are these things that I'm willing to compromise? Like maybe, you know, I love travel. Do they love travel? No, they hate travel. I don't know why you would hate traveling, but anyway. But if they didn't like travel,
COVID.
true. But if they didn't like traveling and
Yeah.
I love traveling,
Yeah.
I have to think to myself, like, is this something I can compromise on? And like, I've learned to be so independent in this past year or so. It's like, yeah, I could probably compromise on that. Like, they don't need to love traveling. I can go travel by myself. I can go traveling with all my friends who I know love traveling. Things like that.
So it's really not how much we love each other, but how much are we willing to tolerate each other and
Yeah.
then still enjoy each other.
Enjoy each other's company and companionship and
Yep.
support each other in their endeavors.
Okay. I have a kind of tangent-y question. But I'm trying to find a way to say, like, do people have to be slightly broken to find each other?
Do people have to be broken? Everyone,
Or need something from each other? Because, like, yeah, you can have your life, like, you're fully complete, self-aware,
yes.
like, completely happy and everything, but then afterwards, like what do you, as a result, do you really need a relationship? Like,
Of course, we're social beings.
yeah.
We're
But-
all broken.
Mm.
Okay. We're all broken. Some people more, like, to a greater extent than others. Like, for me, when I go on dates, obviously, if you date somebody, there's something that you are expecting from that, whether that's friendship or, like, sex or, like, a relationship or whatever. There's a reason why we're dating, right? There is a need there.
Okay. So you're saying that basically we're all broken. We like the fact that we are actually looking for someone else.
Yes.
Is
I
the
think
fact
it's
that
biological. Dot, dot,
Oh,
dot.
really?
Yeah, it's human evolution. We're meant to find somebody.
But I feel like in the media, like, we're definitely like portrayed this ideal that you have to be complete first before you find someone, and like how complete is complete, basically.
I do. Yeah, there is definitely this perception that you need to have your shit together before you find somebody, but that's a bullshit perception
Yeah.
because nobody is 100% like perfect. But then I think the differentiation is if you are searching for love, companionship, relationships because that's the only thing in your life that you feel will give you purpose and meaning, then that's the wrong reason to seek that, in my opinion. Because then you will breed dependency, and that is unhealthy.
But is dependency like really unhealthy? Because like there's definitely some relationships I've seen that like there's a level of dependency on each other. Like obviously a guy might know how to do the like fixing up a car or maintaining things. Like she becomes slightly dependent on that on her partner to do those things. And like is dependency really a bad thing?
Okay, I think emotional dependency is a bad thing.
Okay.
Like, I can't fucking learn. I don't know how to fix a car to save my life, right? I'm going to ask somebody to help me, whether that will be my future boyfriend or like a mechanic or whatever. I can't be independent in everything that I do. But if it's like emotional dependency, like I need you here with me right now, otherwise I'm going to cry and whatever, then that is unhealthy, in my opinion. You need to learn how to be emotionally dependent. You can seek support, but in my opinion, it's really important to be your own emotional warrior.
Okay, so like, okay, but then how would you learn? Like, I can see, like, I feel like I'm emotionally dependent, like, on myself, and I don't really need other people's, like, codependent. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm trying to say, like, I feel like I'm emotionally stable.
Yes.
But I don't really know how I learned that. Like, how, like, do you, as someone who struggled being emotionally dependent, like, how did you figure it out?
I figured it out because it ended my relationships. That's how I figured it out. It was a very hard lesson to learn because when I realized how dependent I was on these people, and then they left. I was literally left for myself, and like I did not know how to handle that. And that's when I realized like this is unhealthy. Like I shouldn't be wanting to die because of this.
So did you seek out help and stuff like that?
I did seek help.
Yeah.
Like I went to therapy and everything. And I think there's also maybe a metaphor here of like putting all your eggs in one basket. I put all my eggs into one person. Well, that's a weird metaphor.
Yeah. You know what we're talking about.
And because of that, I kind of also neglected like my friendships. And I think it's really important to like build relationships that aren't just about, you know, your significant other, friendships as well. And that way it's like if your person can't be there for you, you have other people that you can also seek support from.
So being healthily like stable is being able to know where to get your emotional support.
Yeah. Sometimes it's from yourself
Yep.
because you're, you know, strong.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it is from your significant other. Sometimes it's from your friends or your family.
Okay.
So I think it's just like don't put all your eggs in one basket.
But I think it also depends on your life journey, your age and experience that determines all that outcome too. Some people might fall in love early on
That's true.
and they made a commitment to each other and then they make it work whether they, you know, have a fight or not, but that's it. That's locked in.
Yeah.
It sounds to me that Rawo is actually very picky.
Am I? Okay. Yeah, I think I can be picky.
Because
Definitely.
the question I have for you
Yeah.
is, with all the past relationship, can you see any one of them if you just go make a choice to make it work?
To be honest, yeah, actually my last serious relationship, I think I can actually make that work. But I think the only reason it didn't work is because value-wise, we didn't match. Like I felt like I was gonna have to compromise my two big values, which I just couldn't do. Like, but like I think about it sometimes. Like if she just got one of those values was off the table, I think I can compromise on the other, and then afterwards I
Can
would
you
stay
share
with
with the audience what the two value is, just in case our listeners might be interested?
Okay, so the two values were family and my religion. So we had me and her had different religions, and we were actually both very devoted, like religiously. I was Catholic, she was like, I forget what Hillsong is, but she was
Pentecostal.
Pentecostal, yeah. So she was Pentecostal, and she was very devoted in that, and I was also very devoted in my Catholicism. And I felt like, we would conflict religiously, because I could see myself like having to like step down my religion to be with her. As well, the other thing was that my other value was my family. My family unfortunately did not like her, for whatever reason, and I felt I had to choose between her or my family, and like the logical solution was to actually choose my family. And sometimes I do regret it, and it's because like I realized that at the end of the day, like my family will grow old, or they'll move, like my brother will move on and whatever, and then I'll be left with my partner, right? So that was a value that I think I can kind of get away with,
Right.
because as long as I can see them once in a while, I'll be happy. Like I can't completely wipe them off the face of the planet and not see them, even though sometimes I don't like my family, but I do love them because they are my family, and they have showed love through their actions towards me, and like I am so appreciative of the things that they've done for me, even though they're not the type of people to say I love you and that, but their actions have spoken words to me. And
Yeah.
so I can't. So if I could, sometimes I think if she was Catholic, I'll probably just be with her, because that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like if I can move away from my far enough from my family where I can only see them enough, where there's a happy medium. But like I just couldn't get over the fact that I needed to switch my well, I didn't. She wasn't forcing me to switch my religions, but like I felt like my religion was second to hers in that relationship.
Yeah. I think it's also important to note that you can't change somebody else. The only thing you can control is your reaction and your actions and what you can do.
Yeah, definitely.
Let
But
me just
yeah.
check my notes.
Oh, she's got notes.
I was going to ask about the attachment styles.
Attachment styles.
Actually, no.
Explain them. Explain them for people who don't know, such as myself. I know, obviously, but just
So,
for everyone else.
Attachment styles is the way that we attach to people, like relationships. It doesn't have to necessarily be romantic relationships. It can also be, you know,
Friendships.
family and friendships.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 4 main attachment styles. There's secure. So secure attachment style refers to the ability to form secure, loving relationships with others. They trust others and people trust them. They accept love and they're able to, you know, get close with others and not be afraid of intimacy. And they're also not afraid, like they don't panic when the other person needs time or space away. So that's secure attachment style. Then there's anxious attachment style, which is an insecure form, and it stems from a deep fear of abandonment. They can be insecure about their relationships, often worrying that their partner will leave them, and kind of like clingy and needy. Then there's avoidant. The avoidant attachment style is a form of insecure attachment style marked by a fear of intimacy. So people with this style have trouble getting close to others and trusting other people, and sometimes being in a relationship can make them feel suffocated. And then the last one is fearful avoidant, which is a mixture of anxious and avoidant. So people with this crave affection but also want to avoid it at all costs.
So you're asking like, where do I fit? Is that a
Yes.
spectrum, or are you definitely?
I mean, I assume it would be a spectrum. I mean, I don't. Yeah.
You don't really know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What would your attachment
I
style
feel
be?
like I would be somewhat secure, somewhat insecure, because there are definitely times where, like I could see in my past relationships where I've been a tiny bit insecure, especially when they like haven't texted in like the whole day or something.
Yes.
So
I mean, I feel like that's a natural response.
yeah, especially when you're like the last person to text, and after you're like, why haven't they text back? But what about you? How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself more of an secure, insecure, or what other the other ones are?
Before,
Yep.
I would say that I had an anxious attachment style, and that I think it also stems with like my borderline personality disorder that I was diagnosed with.
Oh, I did not know that. That's new information to me,
Yes.
actually.
Anxious. So
yeah.
I would like be very clingy and fearful that they would abandon me, and so I would do anything possible to try and keep them, and sometimes even like manipulate the situation, I suppose, to see if they would stay. So anxious was definitely my style back then. And I think maybe it does stem from like childhood as well. Like, of course, like your parents, like my Asian parents, don't say I love you and stuff, and they'll like leave you to like go work their hundreds of jobs or whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
don't leave me. So there's definitely that. And also, you know, having been abandoned or broken up with before during like, it kind of breeds that anxiousness of like.
What do you mean by abandoned? Like in your relationship, or just like your family has abandoned you, or what?
Well, in relationships. So
Yeah.
like, obviously my first relationship, no, not my first, my second relationship, which was very public. Like, I depended on him so much to always be there for me, and he would say like, "Oh, I'm never gonna leave you," blah blah blah. We
And-
broke up, and ended things. It's like, oh well, you freaking lied.
Mm.
And yeah, I think that definitely bred like this whole idea in my mind, like people are gonna abandon me. They always leave in the end, no matter what they say, no matter what promises they make. So that has bred that anxious style. But more recently, I feel like I've transitioned from that, thanks to my newfound independence, into a fearful avoidant attachment. So that was the last one that I mentioned. And it's also called disorganized attachment.
Mm.
But basically, it's like I desperately crave intimacy and affection, but at the same time, I try to avoid it
Mm.
because I've been hurt in the past.
So does that mean you put barriers or like walls when you're meeting people or
Yes.
dating?
Yes.
Mm.
And I've noticed that, like in
Yeah.
this past year, that I've definitely built up a wall.
Has anyone gone through your wall yet? That's not a sexual innuendo, by the way.
I think yes. I think at the end of the day, I feel like communication is key. Like if I like just being absolutely transparent about who you are as a person. Like if I tell somebody, "Oh, I've got problems. I'm fearful and avoidant. I crave intimacy, but I'm also like, fuck off. Don't hurt me because I know you will."
Yeah.
I think it's really important to know yourself and your attachment styles, because that will definitely, like, you need to communicate in relationships like this. Otherwise, other person's not going to know how to like deal with, like, oh
With
my god,
you.
yeah, like, oh my god, she hasn't texted back in like 5 hours. Like, she's the type of person that would be anxious about this. I don't know.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I definitely agree that like communication is a very important part of relationships, or like all aspects of relationships actually. Like, but like sometimes I hear these stories where like the girl doesn't want to be with a guy because he's communicating too much, and I'm like, what do you girls want?
Hey, we're all different.
That's true. So I guess like I guess the point is that like you have to find the type of person that you want in your relationship or
Yeah.
something like that. Like if you want to be a communicator in your relationship, you should try to find someone who is also very communicative
Yes.
and honest. Like I think like there's a lot of like relationship like Tinder dates that I've been on, and I feel like they're slightly dishonest or they've withheld something,
Yeah.
and I just like feel, why are they withholding? Like what are they trying to hide, kind
Yeah.
of thing? And is that something that you also notice as like a girl, when you're dating guys? Like does that put you off communicating or talking to them or even seeing them further?
The fakeness?
Yeah, because like obviously when you meet someone, especially if you think they're attractive, you kind of want to put this facade that you're awesome,
Yes.
and like you don't have that maturity to be vulnerable with them.
I mean, everyone's different, and I am an emotional person. You know that.
Yeah, I know that.
I'm very open to talking about my emotions, and for me, I'm also quite self-deprecating.
Same as myself.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm always, like, when I meet with somebody, I always present myself the way that I am.
Do you?
Yes. I mean, I'm pretty upfront. Like, yeah, I'll tell them like, I'm so awkward. I'm kind of lame.
But like you mentioned before that you put walls up, and then after
Yes.
you're saying that hey, like, oh, I'm awkward. Is that, I can see that as like like a wall.
It's
That
a
is
defense
it's
mechanism.
like, yeah, it is a defense mechanism. And is that something you're aware of? Like
Yes,
that,
it is
okay.
definitely something that I am aware of, and I am upfront about it.
The wall gets taller and taller as you get older and older, and you don't have any partner from experience,
Oh, shit.
Really? Tell us more. Tell us more.
which makes me more excited to break it down.
Oh, like your own walls or your partner's walls?
Not my wall. I don't have a wall.
I think you have a wall, big brother. I guess. I don't know if I should say your actual name, but yeah.
Look, I think it's just about finding somebody. Like everybody has a wall to an extent, right?
Mm.
It's about finding somebody who's willing to work with you to break down that wall. And I'm always upfront with people by telling them like what I feel, what I think, and that I do have a wall. And yeah, then it's like how do we crumble that wall?
Pop that wall. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I've mentioned this several times to you, but I feel like I know two of you.
Yes,
Like
yes.
the social media you
Yes.
and the
The
you.
real me.
Well, I think both of them are actually the real you.
Yes.
It's just like when you're in front of the camera, you're definitely a little bit different than when you're outside the camera. And that
Yes.
like how does like someone like me like go, oh, this is your wall, these are the two people, these are the types of walls that you have, how do I, as you say, I can't really do it. Yeah.
Okay, so this is going into like philosophy.
Oh, okay. This could
You
be
know,
a good podcast.
Personas and stuff.
Oh,
Everyone
yeah.
has different personas.
Yeah.
The persona that I have on social media is different to the persona I have with my family,
Mm-hmm.
different to the persona I have with my friends, different to the persona that I have with my colleagues. They're all me. That's how I see it.
And so you want someone who obviously loves
Sees all of
you
that. Yeah.
and then says, yeah, I can
Yeah.
deal with that.
Exactly.
Mm.
Like, I can't sit here and say, like, oh, the real me is this,
Mm.
because it is all me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like how do you begin to show that to people, like but just like spending time with them or something?
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, my love language
Yeah.
is quality time.
Oh, that kind of makes
So,
sense.
yes.
Yeah.
What's
But
your
is that
love-
your main one?
I think it's love language and then physical touch.
Wait. So it's quality time and then physical touch.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that
Yours?
makes- mine. Okay, it is acts of service.
I can
Then
see that.
And then it's a mix between quality time and physical touch.
I see.
So I think they're kind of even, those
Okay.
two, but definitely acts of service is the number one thing for me. It's I definitely like notice it when I talk to people and like when I eat with them, like
I thought the love language is all about the size of your wallet.
I wish my wallet was huge,
Yeah.
as they say. But no. But yeah, it's something I definitely notice when I'm interacting with people. Like something simple as like when we're eating, do you put your plates away into
Yeah.
the basin?
I
Like,
can already tell you my love language is definitely not acts of service.
yeah. So I noticed those things, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think this also goes back to the whole point that my parents showed love through doing things, and thus that's why I think why my thing is acts of service.
My parents never spent any time with me as a child. Is that why I value quality time?
Ooh, that's a bit scary.
They were busy working. Like,
Yeah.
So many jobs. Okay, well, thank you, Ravel, for
Yeah,
joining
no
me on the
worries.
lounge today and talking relationships and dating and everything.
Yeah, it was actually quite fun. Like, I mean, we do these type of talks outside the
We do,
podcast, and
yeah.
it was good to actually put it on film and record it.
Yes, I'm
So-
going to do my ASMR section now.
Oh yeah. No worries.
Because I'm also really starving. So today we have, I just got this from like the pantry. I have no idea. McVitie's Hobnobs, thick chocolate, milk chocolate, crunchy oat and wheat.
It sounds so sexual to you.
Does it?
Yeah, hobnobs,
Hob.
thick chocolate.
Okay. Are you ready for some hobnobs? Would you like a hobnob, Ruel?
Yes, I love your knobs. So thick and chocolatey.
Okay. If any snack company wants to sponsor, you know where to call.
This is quite nice.
Okay. Where can people find you, Ruel?
You can find me pretty much anywhere on the internet and like TikTok and all that crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for joining me in the lounge.
No worries. Thank you.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit us up. And
Yeah.
happy dating, Ruel. Oh, yeah. And
Ah.
if you want to date Ruel, he's
Yes.
single, he's looking, he's 33 years old, he's Filipino, he can cook,
Yes, I used to be a chef.
and his love language is acts of service.
Mm.
So you can't go wrong.
Okay.
Swipe right.
Don't forget to also try to date Leonie.
Don't date me, I'm broken.
she's not as broken as when I first met her, so she's doing great.
Oh, thank you.
So
you think I've like improved?
Yeah, she's definitely
person?
improved. I remember there was this time where she was always like sad, and she was actually starting to become a hunchback because she was always like always looking down and everything, and just on her phone
I'm already
or
getting hunchback.
thingy. But she's actually really improved, and I was like, oh, she doesn't look like she's turning into a hunchback.
Thanks, Ruel. I'm really conscious about my posture now.
No, but like it's really improved. You should have saw her like a few years
I think
ago.
they know. I think most
Yeah,
of my...
it was like it's day and night, literally day and night from what she was before.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, thank you. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode.
no worries.
Bye.
Cheers.
Oh,
Funny.
oh, this is so good.
Well, no, I like these. I have to buy them.
Hobnob.
Mm-hmm.